Alright guys, KK4PYN back here again after a long time of really not making any videos. Kind of busy, I guess, but now I'm out of work and waiting for some surgery, so I guess I'll make a couple videos. Probably, hopefully, a little bit more professional than this. I finally got time to sit down and figure out editing and all that stuff. Anyway, real quickly today I wanted to talk to you guys about portable power and lithium-ion batteries, etc. This is one of my new favorite cheap Chinese products, power banks. I've been a fan of power banks for a long time. I've had this Anchor lithium-ion power bank for quite a number of years. I've also got a lot of Goal Zero stuff. I really enjoy their stuff, but these can get pretty pricey. These are, you know, 20, 30, 40 bucks. But this one's 10,000 milliamp hours. It's got two USB ports there with adaptive technology for fast charging, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, they get pretty pricey. You can get smaller ones like this. I charge, whatever, 5,000 milliamp hours. A little bit cheaper, you know, come with a built-in LED. And this will charge up most cell phones once. You can see this one's dead. Because I just used it to charge up my tablet. So I like to charge these power banks and stuff like that from my solar system, which I got outside, and it just comes in here to this little DC-DC converter right now, which you can see right now I got 13.1 out of my panels, and it's just got a little USB on there. And I've also got this little wannabe JST connector on there for some other stuff I'll show you. But anyway, back to this little deal here. This is a DIY power bank, one-handed, and it takes 18 650 batteries. I'm sure you guys are familiar with those. You can scavenge them out of laptops or buy them new, whatever you want to do. I just get old laptop packs and tear them apart. But this takes 6 1856 batteries, 18 650 batteries, and turns it into USB or multi-voltage. This has also got a couple different voltages you can do on the side here, up through 12 volts. Now here's the good part about this. $5 shipped from China. This came from a seller, Ocean Beach. Again, sorry for the horrible cell phone video and no screen sharing, etc., etc. But yeah, $5. You can also get it in white if you're into that type of thing. But you can see that it's 3.65, 6 volt, 9 volt, and 12 volt. Just pretty much every power you need. You know, if you're doing radio stuff, if you're doing just portable stuff. It's got the 2.1 millimeter. It's also got a flashlight in there. I've got a couple of these. This is my first one. I can see it's got a little charge indicator there. They're super, super bright. It's got a power indicator on the front. The USB connector broke on this, so I just stuck this goofy wire in there. But this one has these batteries in it here. They came out of a laptop. They're LG cells. As far as capacity on these go, it says up to 20,400 milliamp hours. Well, I'm not going to try and put back together. Depending on what the capacity of the actual battery you're using is. You know, there's a lot of different batteries. These are a couple of the good ones I've saved, you know. So you get LG, Samsung, Sanyo, 18 650s, but there are a lot of different capacities, anywhere from 2,200 milliamp hours to, I don't know, up to about 3,000, I guess. But anyway, they work great. This one, there's another one I got, just to show you. Yeah, this one's got a full charge. So those LEDs are bright enough by themselves to see around in the dark, but if you double click it, it's got this LED out the front, and it's surprisingly bright for something that costs $5. Now, with the rated 20,400 milliamp hours in there. That LED, I've left it on for a couple days, basically. You can see this thing on 5 volt output, 2 amps, 2.5 at 3.6, which you can all get out of, turn that off. Which you can all get out of this other output jack up here. It says out on it. You just hold this down, turn that off. It's not as nice as, say, as the Anchor one that's all fully automatic. When you plug it in, it just turns on, do what you need to do. But again, you got a lot more functionality out of this. You got the multiple voltages with this switch over here on the side. The USB port only works when it's in the 5 volt selection there. And then out of this other output, you got, you know, 3.6, which is a nominal battery voltage, basically, all the way up to 12, and it'll output good 12 volts. According to this, it'll output 600 milliamps at 12 volts. So that's enough to run some basic stuff, you know. And if you're wondering why it says in near that LED, because they have another version of this. This is a much higher power version of that that'll output up to 21 volts for a laptop. So this one was only $5. The other version, a 3.3 amp 5 to 21 volt more mobile power bank, which also uses 6 AT 650s, blah blah, is $15 from Alice 110 1983, one of my favorite Chinese sellers. And it's $2 to ship it. It'll take you about a month to get it, but I mean, it works great. So, you know, if you're not in a rush and you understand that you're buying something Chinese, it's not of fantastic quality, then it works out great. For $5, if you have a bunch of old 18650s laying around, this thing is kind of unbeatable. Yeah, the case comes off really easy, but you could probably tape it on there, you know. Heck, just as an 18650 charger, it's going to charge them really slow because it's charging well in series. In this version, all 6 batteries are in parallel. Excuse me, I don't know why I said series. So you just have one connection to them at the end. I'd take one apart for you, but doing that one-handed would be kind of a pain. But anyway, so this basically works by its series parallels all those 18650s and then uses a boost converter to get you up to 5 volts or 12 volts, whatever. Hence the diminishing amperage as you go up in voltage. This one, pretty much the same deal. But they are not all in series, they're in series parallel configuration, so you get a little bit more power out of that. And as you can see, all the way from 3.6 up to 21 volts, you get 3.3 amps. I have not done as much testing on this as I have on the others. I like the fact that you can leave this one plugged into 12 volts, into a 12 volt power source, and spit out 12 volts from the 2 connectors in the front here. And it'll just charge it, and I have confirmed that when it gets fully charged, it just goes down to 0 amps on charging. So basically, you use it like a UPS. Just super handy. I mean, it'll do a lot of things. It'll charge your laptop. I've charged my Chromebook with it. It got a little warm, but, you know, considering it's boosting probably 7.4, I would suppose, up to 21 or 19 volts. But this one shows the capacity being a little bit less at 19,200 milliamp hours, 71 watt hours, but definitely doesn't have as much capacity, but super handy. Again, you got the selector switch over here, and then selector switch over here, so it's a little bit different than the other one. You charge it through the in. I've charged it with 12 volts, and it gets up to about 12.3. Or whatever your input voltage is. Right now it's showing 12.1. I actually just noticed today that it said the input's 16 to 21 volts. So I might try and charge this. Obviously you can charge it with a laptop power supply. You also notice this doesn't have the LED. With a laptop power supply, but I'm going to try and charge it off a solar panel. See what happens. $15 if I blow it up. I'm not going to cry. Just have to wait a month for another one. But it should work. So anyway, let's see what you can really do with these things. Let's get some real world usage out of them. Why would you buy one? Obviously, you can charge a tablet a couple times, especially with this one. The USB output will run for a long time. During the recent hurricane here in Florida, I had this running some lights, and it ran quite a while. If you're lucky enough to have a Goal Zero Luna, which is a little USB powered light, you will love this. It'll run for hours and hours with that plugged in, because that only draws about, well, less than an amp, less than half an amp. Somewhere around here I've got, yeah, right here. This is an IKEA Janso. It's designed to plug into a laptop or whatever. Yes, Lucy, I know. Say hi to Lucy. She's helping me out. Designed to plug into a laptop or whatever and light up the keyboard, but if we plug it into the power bank here, am I zoomed in? Is that why this looks so weird? No, okay. Turn on the power. Boom. So that's enough to light up, you know, read a book, whatever. And that will stay lit for an exceptionally long amount of time. Let's plug in the power drive here. Let's see what sort of numbers we're getting. I believe it's like 70 milliamps or something ridiculous. Wow, this is going to be a horrible video with using the cell phone. Alright, so there's a charger doctor plugged in, showing somehow showing 12 volts. I must have it set on 12 volts. No, it's set on 5. I believe my charger doctor may be broken here. Let's plug this in and see what happens. I think that's supposed to say 5.25 volts. Anyway, wait till it switches to amps. 0.07 amps. Yep. So that'll run for quite a long time. Let me plug in the power drive here. This one is a little more robust. So we plug in the power drive and it's showing 5.06. This one will also help you determine capacity. Got burnt there. Probably soldering on. So again, we plug in the Janso. How many of you are getting motion sickness? Go ahead and hit that thumbs down button in the down there if you need me to hook up a real camera and get rid of the cell phone. Okay, so upside down, and this is showing no amps. Let's reset that. Oh, this will be weird. Three-handed. That's not going to focus, is it? Turn it off. Turn it back on. Well, today's not a good day for USB power detectors. Anyway, it's pulling 70 milliamps, basically, that light. So that'll run for a really long time. And these things are very basic. Keep in mind, this is $5, okay? So we ripped the 18650s out of an old laptop battery or whatever, loaded them up, and you're off and running. But the real advantage to this versus a normal power bank is it'll output 12 volts. This one charges with micro USB, so I don't think it'll do that backup feature. Let's see if we switch this up to 12. There we go. So, what do we got that's 12 volts around here? Well, my lights are 12 volts. This is probably the easiest thing. This is a Frankenstein creation I made. As you can see, this is a laptop battery pack. It's just 18650s. I actually just tore it apart and zip tied them in there. So we're going to plug in this, which is just male to male, a 2.1 millimeter. Hopefully there's no sparks. And set that up there. Don't want to look directly at the camera with that because it's going to be bright. Turn it on. And it's not working. So there you go. Live video. Never seems to want to work. There we go. So now we got 12 volt light. That's these little 12 volt fish tank lights I got on clearance somewhere. But that works fantastically. Only outputting 600 milliamps. I know what we can do. Let's turn off these big lights. I've got this strip of this little plug-in 12 volt lights up here that I use for when there's power outages and I need to come in here and get some work done. So if we plug that in here, alright, we'll hit our capacitive switch here, and there we go. 12 volts. Not giving that its full power. It's only 600 milliamps. I don't know how much that's drawn. Let's do this. I'm going to set the phone down here for a second. I can't imagine how much you guys must not like the videography skills that I'm possessing today. Let's see if I can do that. I don't know how well that's really going to show. Anyway, what I've got here, what I had here, there we go. This is a volt amp meter. Hopefully this works. Plug that in there. Plug this in here. Turn that on. There we go. So, showing it's outputting 11.4. I have not calibrated this at 0.6 amps. So that's as much as it'll output. These may draw more if I gave them to them, but they're plenty bright. Even if I cover up this light, that's enough to work by down here, you know. So, very handy for that type of thing. And there's a lot of other applications to have a portable 12 volt source too. You know, it would be easy enough to just grab a sealed lead acid battery, you know. One of these suckers, it weighs 40 pounds, carry it around, it'll give you 7 amp hours. And that would really work. But some of the other good applications for this would be this NAMH battery charger here, which by the way works great. As you can see, that takes 12 volts at 1.5 amps. This charges on the low setting that I use, puts 200 milliamp hours into each battery, so that's, or excuse me, 200 milliamps into each battery, so that's 600 milliamps, which is right what this will output. I don't think the circuitry there draws that much, or maybe some conversion losses. Haven't tried it, but we could try that. Your real thing here would be a router. Say you're a field day or something like that and you want to power up a portable router, we'll just plug that in and hit the button. Come on, there we go. And we should have some life down here somewhere. Isn't this working? So it's on now. Well, our voltage may be a little bit lower, something like that. But at any rate, this was a last minute thrown together type thing. I powered up this router before. This is an old piece of junk. I might have burned it out testing it. I literally use this router for some other type of testing that I'm doing with here's my Luna with super caps, which I'll show in another video. So here's my Goal Zero Luna. This is a great little light, especially when it focuses. Again, meant to be plugged into a USB on a computer. It's got, you know, a flexible bendy neck here. If we plug that in, this again draws about 70 milliamps. Alright, turn that on. And there we go. That will run for quite a few hours just off this battery pack. Reason being, draws very little, you know. To get the maximum efficiency out of one of these, you'd want to create an LED array or some type of LED light for lighting purposes without any boost converters or anything like that, using the 3.6 volt output that this unit can do. That would give you its maximum capacity, because this can be deceiving. The 20,400 milliamps at this rates is at 3.6 volts or 3.7 volts. So once you start stepping that up with the internal boost converter, you're not getting the same capacity. Let's try this one. This is a little bit better at outputting 12 volts than the other one. Using it for a router or a portable radio like that or something like that at 600 milliamps. Most of the routers they'll come with an amp or an amp and a half or a 2 amp plug supply. I've never actually seen them draw that much. That's what I built this little device for, to see how much these things were drawing. Because I'm working on a battery backup system with that huge battery right there, powering my internet and Wi-Fi through an APC UPS. That will last for... Alright, there you go. So this is showing me 12.1 volts. And here our router is powered up. The other interesting thing to note about routers is that most of them take that 12 volts and convert it down to 5 or less. I've run this router right here on as low as 9 volts successfully. It'll run lower than that, but it won't start up on lower than that. But I've plugged 9 volts into it, and it actually powered up. If you're wondering, this is a Netgear WNR 3500U. The input is rated at 12 volts, like an amp or something like that. But there you go, it's powering up, it shows green. There's a WPS light. This little supply here could probably run this router for, you know, 2 or 3 hours at the most. Simply because it's boosting you know, up to that voltage. But yeah, so if you got something a little bit more professional in this, I'm sure you can find the male-to-male cable anywhere on eBay or anything, Amazon. You could run your router, you could run a small radio, obviously. This says it'll output 3.3 amps. I have not done the total testing on that for the higher loads. I'm in the middle of building some actual loads, like USB loads and stuff like that, dummy loads to test power. But for the most part, you know, for 15 bucks, this thing will run up to 21 volts, which I have confirmed it did charge my Chromebook, and it is fantastic. You can take your normal 12 volt input, plug it in there, it'll charge this and give you power output at the same time. So it'll act like an uninterruptible power supply. They call that pass-through charging, or pass-through anyway. So, but this thing's pretty handy. Full of 18650s, which you can get either free if you get some old laptop battery packs. Just test them with a multimeter to see if they're, you know, more than about 2.5 volts. They should charge up no problem. So yeah, that's a little bit of my portable power story here. All from old discarded laptop batteries. If you have an old laptop pack around, chances are 7 out of the 8 batteries or 5 out of the 6 batteries or more are probably still good. One of them went bad and now the whole pack is useless. People just throw them out or recycle them. I think this is the most efficient way to use them, is to have something like this, so you can power up whatever you want, you know. And when these batteries go bad, unlike a traditional power bank where when this one finally gives up its lithium-ion ghost, I'm throwing it out. You know, I guess I could crack it out and take the cell out and try and recharge or whatever, but basically it's done. And that's $39 down the drain. Or you just buy one of these, fill it up with new batteries from another laptop that you might have thrown out or got, and voila, you're back to being basically brand new operational. I use them in a lot of different sources, like this one right here is an 18650 through one of those little TP4056 charge modules, powering this little Bluetooth module right here, which I use from my Chromebox down here to get audio, simply because the audio output on the Chromebox is broken. I got it on eBay for, you know, 45 bucks or whatever. But so yeah, they work good. I'll show you one more time here the listing if you're interested in getting one. Where'd it go? Bing, 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 bing. And you can get both variants from this seller, TX Hang Electronic or Alice 110 1983. Yes, they're from China. Yes, it's a slow boat, but you'll get it, and it's worth the wait. This one was $15.56 for the multi-output one, and this was $4.96 shipped free from this seller, Ocean Beach. For the US, this one will also output 12 volts, obviously only at 600 milliamps, but I gotta tell you, for charging phones, obviously it works great. It outputs, you know, 2 amps, enough to charge most phones. And with that multi-voltage supply, you know, there's a lot of different radios that take different input voltages to charge. You know, the little micros like this, this one has a 6-volt adapter. You can make yourself up a cable to go from that power bank to here. Some of the older radios, like this old Radio Shack here, take 12-volt input to charge. See if I can get that in there. I could charge that right off that little bank. The capacity of this thing is going to be at or more than what these radio batteries will hold, so you know, you shouldn't have a problem. Obviously you can charge cell phones, tablets, stuff like that, but man, they're just really handy. iPhones, iPads, you know, Bluetooth headphones. You could power a Raspberry Pi or a small, you know, like a BeagleBone, like your SDR setup with one of these too. Not forever, but if you're just out in the field, something you want to throw in your backpack. The only suggestion I would make is once you get your batteries in there, take some packing tape or something. These covers come off pretty easily. I am not going to call this device rugged. It's cheap plastic. Keep in mind, like if you watch any of my other videos, is $5 shipped. You know, be gentle with it. The USB port may break on you. My USB port on the other one broke. Just, you know, be gentle, and you'll find you have a device that you can use for a lot of things. The reason I bought the other one is because I've got this little outdoor Wi-Fi camera here, and it runs off of USB. You see in there, a USB connector. So this runs off 5 volts. It's got a USB connector. I'll plug that in. This thing only draws like 30 milliamps, as long as you keep the night vision off, which is selectable in the app. Draws, you know, 30 milliamps. It'll run for hours on that. So I could set that up to do time lapses, or just, you know, if I needed something quick and easy, portable. But I'm going to try USB charging, or solar charging one of these at 6 volts, and seeing if it'll pass through for me. So it'll be like a act sort of as a solar charge controller, since it obviously does have a controller to charge the battery. So there you go. That's 30 minutes of your life you'll never get back. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Thanks to those who recently subscribed. Although I haven't done a video in quite a while, I'm going to try and put out more videos here coming up shortly. I've got some stuff going on, and I'm going to have some free time, so I'll get into a couple of my other little projects that I got going on. You know, try and save you guys some money in the process. You don't always need to buy the greatest of everything. I also recently got the new 100-watt Harbor Freight solar system. I'll do a quick review on that, and maybe we'll get back to Monday Module Madness with some of this stuff. I don't know if any of you ever really enjoyed that, but if you did, we'll get back to that. And then upcoming, as I had promised, I will have my super cap video about supercapacitors or ultracapacitors, because I am thoroughly amazed. This device here will blow your mind, as you'll see in my next video. So that's it for today. Thanks for sticking with me for this long. Like and subscribe if you'd like. If not, tell me I'm an idiot. Don't mind that either. It's just killing time today on a Saturday. So you guys have a great day, 73, and we'll talk at you soon. Oh, I know, Lucy.